Now, should a 6-year-old be watching a programme about a transgender child? Well, the BBC's coming under fire for just that after it put a series about a transgender girl on the CBBC website. Just a Girl, as it's called, follows an 11-year-old telling the story of her transition from being a boy to a girl. The decision to make the show has criticism from some parents, MPs and family groups. Here's a clip from the show.
To my old friends, I'm Amy, who used to be Ben. My worry is that one of the new kids finds out that I'm transgender, makes a big deal of it, tells everybody, and it freaks them all out. All I want to do at my new school is fit in, like all the other new girls.
Let's speak now to Tara Hewitt, who's a trans equality campaigner and who backs the programme. And also with us is Roger Kiska from Christian Concern, who's critical of the show. Tara, when did you first know that you wanted to change gender?
I've known since I was about 3 years old that who I really was, and I transitioned about 10 years ago, so it's something that I've always known throughout my life.
So you think this is fine for kids to know about via CBBC?
I think it's important that our TV shows reflect society around us, and actually it's done in that way, and we see lots of diversity on CBBC shows, and actually trans people exist, trans young people exist, so it's really great to see them included within the TV shows.
That's a fair point, Roger. It's something they're going to have to come to terms with sooner or later.
I think the issue here isn't necessarily about transgenderism. It's not about anti-bullying. What it is, it's about parental rights and about sexualizing children as young as 6 or 7 who are viewing this material.
Is it really sexualising them? Admittedly, there's a very small proportion of society. You think around 0.6% of the population are transgender or identify with that. But is it really sexualising children by telling them about this? I
think at this age and the content of the material, it clearly is sexualizing. I think it's age inappropriate and it undermines parental rights. And CBBC is something that's not going to be picked up by internet filters, and it's something that really does cause a challenge to parents who want to raise their children in a specific way.
Yeah, there you go, Tara. It's one thing that parents should be dealing with. Well, one of many things some people would argue. Why should the BBC perhaps get involved when parents should be doing this?
I think really clearly this is just about exposure to diversity, and I used to be chair of governors at school. I've gone into schools, I've worked with young people, and I'm trans, and so young people are going to see trans people in the world.
And they will ask questions, but they're not necessarily old enough to understand the answers.
The same way we have people with disabilities on TV, people with different sexual orientations. Shows need to reflect that. And we used to have that message about sexualisation with sexuality in Section 28. And that's really the message that's being pushed here, but just for trans people, that we should bring back Section 28, but for a different group in the population. And I think that's the wrong message.
But then there are other people who say that their brains simply aren't developed enough to perhaps understand what is in front of them, whether it's right or wrong. They have no concept of what that is.
I think our young people in our society understand what they see, and TV shows that are pitched at a level that's right for them. There's nothing different within I'm Just a Girl compared to other CBBC shows. It looks at bullying, it looks at young people exploring who they are. Those are messages that come across in lots of different CBBC shows. It's not different. This is just about making sure the characters reflect the world that young people are in. And if we're going to give our children the information to equip themselves to be successful in the world and protect them, we need to make sure that that's all the information that's out there, including trans people.
Finally, Roger, I mean, Tara says she knew at the age of 3. I've spoken to another person who's transitioning from being a female to a male who knew about the age of 5 or 6. So it seems, from their point of view, about the right age to be dealing with this topic.
Well, the most recently published science on this is that the vast majority of children who go through cross-gender confusion, by the time they're an adolescent or an adult, they no longer go through that. And so this is something that is potentially promoting something that could be very harmful for children. They might be going through other forms of depression, or they might just grow out of it. And that's our concern with it.
But briefly, it's an issue that is going on. It has to be dealt with at some point.
It has to be dealt with, but it's a conversation for adults, and that's the real question. This is being viewed by very young children.
All right. Roger, Tara, thank you both very much indeed for coming in.